the hoistway door open on 12 and found another landing behind it. Not a hallway. A brick wall cut through with an old manual door, painted the same green as every floor below. Brass plate. One number, 14. This building has 12 floors and a machine room. Nothing above that. The call button beside the door was warm, like a hand had been on it, holding it down for a long time before I got there. Subject, you still doing nights? Nate, I pulled a strange one and thought you'd want to hear it. Linden Vale Apartments, East 71st. 1928 tower, 12 residential floors, basement boiler room, machine room on the roof. Original Otis traction cars, updated in the late 90s with new controllers. Management wants the annual inspection signed off before they refinance. Half my job now is watching rich people panic over machinery they bought for the wallpaper. The super Martin met me with a key ring heavy enough to sink him. Marble lobby, brass mailboxes, an old cage door still bolted in front of car 4, just for looks, though the real interlocks were swapped out years ago. He said tenants complain that car 4 drifts an inch at the stops and sometimes opens on dark space. His words, dark space, I figured a bad leveling relay. Common enough. Then he handed me the night doorman's log. 3 tenants, 3 different nights, said the floor indicator skipped 12 and lit a blank lamp instead. There is no blank lamp on that panel. I checked twice. Subject re, you still doing nights? Started at the top, like always. The machine room was cleaner than most operating rooms I inspect. Fresh paint on the floor. Oil swept into neat lines. Too clean. Buildings only clean what they expect you to look at. The controller logs showed door lock faults on car 4 and 2 hard resets, both at 3:11 in the morning on different dates. Same minute. That's the kind of thing that shouldn't bother me. Equipment fails whenever it wants. People find patterns because they need a story to go with the fear. Then I checked the selector against the prints. Prints showed basement, lobby, 2 through 12, then machine room access. Standard. But the selector had a dead contact wired between 12 and the machine room. Clipped, not connected. Old work, not from the modernization. I asked Martin if the building ever had a 13th floor. Pre-war buildings do that sometimes. Skip the number, keep the floor. Call it 14, so nobody has to say 13 out loud. He said no. Then he said the records were lost in a flood decades back. There was a water line on the file cabinet behind him. Chest height. Subject, car 4. I put the car on inspection and rode it myself, top of car, watching the shaft. Basement to 12 was clean. Slight low level at 8, half an inch, nothing worth a red tag. Then, between 12 and the machine room, where there should have been bare shaft, wall, and counterweight, there was a landing sill. A swing door, bricked over from the hallway side. From inside the shaft, you could see the steel frame and the back of the hinges. Somebody had built a wall to hide a floor, not to remove it. I brought the car down and told Martin what I'd seen. He said there was nothing up there but storage chases and roof access. I told him I'd been standing next to a door. He rubbed his mouth and said something about servants' quarters decades before the co-op conversion, guessing or performing a guess. We were still in the lobby when the position indicator over car 4 changed. It didn't move to reflect the car. It just changed. 10. Subject: you were right about old buildings. I ran a lock test from 12. Standard procedure: kill the hall calls, secure the landing, inspect the hoistway door by hand. The wall beside the elevator bulged out farther than the plans allowed. Fresh paint over old settling cracks. Hollow when I knocked low near the baseboard. Martin wanted to wait for the board president. I wasn't opening anything structural. I pulled the inspection panel and found a door frame behind the finished wall. Not abandoned conduit. An actual frame, bricked in from the hallway side and skimmed flush, so it read as corridor. I got the hoistway access open from the car and put my light through the gap. Brick, most of the way up. Above it, the top half of a narrow wooden door. Dark green paint under gray dust. A brass numeral screwed into the wood. 14. While I was looking at it, car 4 dropped 6 inches on its own. Power locked out the whole time. Then, from behind that door, the hall call buzzer went off. One press, then another. Subject: lunch with a witness. I went down to clear my head and found the building's oldest tenant doing a crossword in the lounge. Mrs. Wexler, here since 1964. I asked if the building ever had another floor. She said, the staff floor, and folded her paper like she'd told me where the ice machine was. Before the co-op conversion, 1 family per floor, and the maids and nanas slept above 12 under the water tanks. Tiny rooms, a call bell in each one, wired to the suites below. Management closed it during the war and moved everyone out. People kept hearing the bells anyway. The owners bricked the corridor over after a girl went missing. I asked what girl. She looked annoyed at herself, like she'd opened the wrong drawer in her own head. Said she never knew the name, only that police searched every room and the shaft and found nothing. Then she said this, and I wrote it down exact. They told us she must have left, but the elevator kept stopping for her floor. Very polite. Door open. Nobody there. When I got back up to 12, the call button on the bricked wall was lit. Through the plaster. A clean amber square. Subject: I opened it. Martin went down to sign for a delivery. I used the chisel off his cart and cleared the infill around the latch. The bricks came away easy, dry, stacked without real mortar. Stacked for show. The green door swung inward onto a corridor about 4 feet wide. Ceiling sloped under the water tanks. Steam pipes wrapped in cracked white insulation. 10 or 12 doors on each side, narrow, painted the same green brass numbers, a dead black button beside every frame. There was power. A single row of shaded bulbs, low and yellow, cellar stair light. There shouldn't have been any air movement this high in the shaft, but the corridor had a draft. Warm, a little damp, carrying that stale laundry smell old service floors get. At the far end, an elevator, not the modern kind. A collapsible bronze gate, a call panel beside it with buttons running 2 through 12, and one blank disc filed smooth where the button for the first floor should have been. Subject: still in the building, the first room I checked. I needed it to be storage. It wasn't. Iron cot, porcelain basin, one wooden chair, a bell box on the wall with a glass window, numbers hand-painted, dust on everything except the mattress, where the center had been pressed flat, not once, but over years, the way a groove wears into a stair. The next room had children's wallpaper under peeling paint. The next had 6 pairs of women's shoes lined heel to the wall, leather curled with age. In room 9, the bell box was live, tiny hammers twitching behind the glass. Sweet 6 calling, then 11, then 3, quiet sounds, barely louder than a fingernail on a plate. Then I heard car 4 moving in the shaft beside me. Not the modern motor. No whine from the machine room. Cable under load. Guide shoes brushing rail. Slow. Heavy. On purpose. The gate at the end of the corridor rattled open by itself. I couldn't see inside the car from where I stood. Just the bronze lattice spreading apart. Then a woman's voice, flat, worn down to almost nothing. 14th. Subject: if this sends, call me Nate. I'm at the car. It isn't on our cables anymore. Or it is, but not ours. Raw wood panels under flaking varnish, a bench on 3 sides, no inspection plate, no manufacturer tag, no phone. Nothing added by any code I've ever worked under. The threshold is wet, not water. It only looks like water until the light catches it, and you see how it holds together, dragged in arcs like something crossing and recrossing. There are prints in it. Small heeled shoes, work boots, bare feet, a child's feet. The panel has 12 bone-colored buttons and a square key switch marked attendant. The key is already turned. It's warm. Every bell in the corridor is ringing now. All of them at once. I can feel it in my teeth. The bench across from me is denting down in sections. Cushion first, then the frame beneath it. Like people are sitting, one after another, in a place I can't quite see. The indicator over the door just lit. It doesn't say 14. It says home. Subscribe if you want to hear what I find next.